Today's episode of The Walk Show is brought to you in part by Rock Sparrow. Rock Sparrow brings artists and brands to life through quality merchandise. They help entrepreneurs, artists, and brands with online merch solutions, taking the guesswork out of merchandising your brand by managing your every need, and all with real people. Speaking of real people, I've known the creators of Rock Sparrow for years, and I can tell you firsthand, these people genuinely care about what they do for their clients and their community. There's even a store there set up for The Walk Show. Check out what they're up to at rocksparrow.ca. If you want to join up like I did, send them an email at info@rocksparrow.ca. And if you want to check out my Rock Sparrow merch, it's at The Walk Show. That's WOK.rocksparrow.ca. Again, that's thewalkshow.rocksparrow.ca. In any case, if you want to help out The Walk Show, please let them know that I sent you. Howdy, folks. Welcome to The Walk Show, podcasting on all major platforms and broadcasting on Hypernova Radio. Thank you for listening. Be sure to follow the show on Facebook, X, Instagram, and Blue Sky. And if you want to support the show with your dollars, you can subscribe over on Patreon for $5 a month. I'm Derek Prince-Cox, and I hope you're all keeping well. We're going to switch it up for this episode. I had a chat with Jonathan Sohn of Cartridge Heart and the Mendozas about the upcoming Cartridge Heart compilation Go Kick Ass 3. Longtime listeners may remember we did this last year for Go Kick Ass 2, and we had a great time doing it. The third installment of Go Kick Ass drops Friday, September 12th, and it's going to be released on CD and digitally. There will be 10 different release parties all around Southern Ontario. So this is a big project that Jonathan takes on. And this year is going to be the biggest one yet. There are 42 previously unreleased tracks on Go Kick Ass 3. It's a huge compilation and it's chock full of goodness, I promise you. We get into all the tracks and details about the release parties. We'll even debut some of the tracks for you too. Jonathan has become a good friend of the show, and a good friend of mine, too. He is an unbelievably hardworking, talented guy, and the world needs more of people like him. So, I was very happy to do this special. We had a great chat, and I hope you dig it. So let's get into it. And we are rolling. Jonathan Sohn of Cartridge Heart and the Mendozas. Welcome back to the show, buddy. How you doing?
I'm doing great. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing great too, man. Seems like there's never enough time for anything, but I know you know that game, so I'm kind of preaching to the choir.
Yeah, it's this is sort of the last sprint to the finish line for Go Kick Ass 3.
Which is crazy, because it's, I feel like the first two would have been a lot of work, and this one's even bigger than the first two. It's huge. There's 42 tracks, right?
Yeah, it's really big. It's over 2 hours long, and I feel like I left no stone unturned when, reaching out to bands that I've seen out there before and, who I really enjoy.
Yeah, man, it's quite the effort, dude, and it's quite the compilation. I mean, it's dropping September 12th, 2 discs, 10 different CD release parties. Is it even cool to say CD release parties? We'll just say album release parties, compilation release parties, whatever.
There are going to be CDs at the parties. For the shows that have a cover charge, I believe Toronto, Hamilton, Newmarket, Niagara Falls, Tillsonburg, Kitchener, basically the shows that have a cover charge, you'll get the CD with your cover charge. And then the free shows, the Dead Dog Records Matinee, Oshawa Brew Wizards, you'll have to pony up a couple bucks.
That's cool, man. And I love the, including the CD in the price. I think that's the way to do it. That's the way we used to do it back in the day too, man. You would just, price might be a little bit higher than normal, but you get something with it. And it's a good way to move some units.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We have an allocation of 25 free CDs per show. So, get there early, get your disc.
Sweet.
Yeah.
So, it's like you've done this before.
we did that for the first Go Get Cast. It was a CD included with entry, and people kind of looked at them funny, like, what is this? What am I supposed to do with this? And I would say to people, don't worry, it's got a download code on the back if you, don't know what to do with a CD. To which they would reply, what am I supposed to do with a download code? But
come on now.
But I feel like with people moving off of Spotify now, moving off of streaming, CDs are fun again.
Yeah.
Just load them into your car stereo and go.
Well, exactly. Yeah, they're definitely coming back. And the same way tapes did, although CDs are far more functional than tapes. I mean, the only reason I ever really bought tapes was for the download code that would come in it. And obviously I'm talking about the sort of tape renaissance, not like back in the 90s. But other than that, they were kind of useless. Like, who has a tape deck anymore?
They sound terrible.
That's also true. And they get they get tangled up, and it's, remember having to wind them with the pencil? Like, ugh. The worst.
Yeah, I mean, I think the only reason to own a tape right now is if you just, want to have the thing. On CDs, you still have the thing, but it sounds better than the streaming.
Yeah.
So.
Sounds better. You can get to the next track without having to wind and rewind. Yeah. Just, I don't know. Honestly, functional wise, like, I think CDs are probably the best medium there's ever been, like, in terms of quality and accessibility and functionality, right?
Price, convenience.
Yeah, that was the pinnacle. I don't know. I definitely stream a lot. Well, I don't really stream a lot. I should say I buy a lot of albums off of like Bandcamp and iTunes. So I still use classic iPods, which, people have no idea what those are now either, apparently. But
yeah, no. If we were to try to squeeze this onto vinyl, it would be a triple LP, and it definitely wouldn't be $10.
Well, yeah. There's no way to do that cheaply anyway. I mean, vinyl rules. I definitely like vinyl, but it is what it is, right? If you're looking for convenience, quality, functionality, CDs definitely the way to go. Anyway, that's enough of me spieling about CDs, but or maybe it's not. We'll see how it goes. But let's dive into these tracks, man. There's a lot of them. Starts off disc 1, Motion Sickness, Burn It Down. This track is an absolute earworm. In the best way possible. I've had it stuck in my head since you sent it to me. And it comes in just under a minute. It does everything it needs to do. Gets out of the way right after. I love it. Jonathan Sohn, what say you, sir?
Motion Sickness was a pandemic band. They recorded some singles. They did an EP. And they quite literally burned out. So this is their swan song. This is the final recording. Their guitarist, songwriter, Matt Gauthier, has been very close to the Go Kick Ass projects. He's mastered all 3 of them. So it was nice to get him involved with one of the songs this year.
That rules, man. Definitely want to give it a spin. I don't want to burn out. No pun intended. My spin's too early, but I don't know. This song's too good to pass on. So here it is, Motion Sickness with Burn It Down. Check it out.
Burn it down, burn it down, burn it to the ground. Burn it down, burn it down, burn it to the ground. Burn it down, burn it down, burn it to the ground. Well, I thought I knew what I was getting into. You proved me wrong. Come on, light the fuse. I don't want forgiveness. I just want you gone. Burn
Next up is Last Drag with Short Turn to Fame. Super catchy tune from a band that was on the last Go Kick-Ass as well. And this track is super catchy and really aggressive, which is an excellent combination. The guitars and the vocals have real teeth to them. What did you think?
I love it. I've been a big fan of Last Drag ever since I first heard them, which would have been about a year ago. They're still a relatively new band, but everyone in the band has been around. Like if you've heard of the Victim Party or the Ward, you probably know the people involved in Last Drag. Closet Monster, it's another one.
Oh wow, that's I haven't heard that name in ages.
Yeah, no, these are punk rock vets, and they're really good at what they do.
Very cool. Moving on, track 3, disc 1 is the Mendozas with Shotgun Shells and Serenades. Listeners of the show likely know that I'm a Mendozas fan, so I'm not just pumping John's tires here, but this is another hit from an absolute hit factory. You guys managed to put out songs that are easy to follow, but without stepping on any band's toes. Like, you just have a signature sound. It's kind of like when you listen to the Cars, you instantly know it's the Cars. Is that a fair assessment? And do you want to kick me in the nugs for referencing the Cars in the same spiel as the Mendozas?
No, the Cars are great. I mean, I've always been the radio rock guy in the Mendozas. Mike's always been the punk guy. So I'm flattered. And I think a big reason why people say we have a signature sound is because I use my natural voice when I sing. So, I sound like me and I don't try to sound like other people.
I think that might be the secret sauce, dude, is just not trying to sound like anybody. And not to throw shade at any other bands, but, some bands you listen to and you're like, okay, I can tell he's a fan of Tom DeLonge. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, but I mean, I'm a huge fan of, Billy Joe Armstrong, but I don't want to try to be him. He's already done it perfectly. I don't want to try to be Dexter Holland. We already have Dexter Holland.
Yeah, I love that mentality, and well, no, I'm just going to leave it there. We're not throwing shade on the Walk Show. I love it. I want to spin it. Is that okay with you, sir?
Yeah, just a little fun factoid. This was a leftover from Loafers. We recorded more songs than we needed, and I thought it would be fun to save. This was not what I would call the 13th best song from the Loafers sessions. I liked it a fair bit, but I wanted to put it away for a rainy day just in case something cool came along. And, the deadline for Go Kick-Ass 3 was coming up, and we weren't sure what we were going to do, and just threw it out there. Why don't we, take this song and put it on there? So I'm glad that a lot of people are going to get to hear my anti-love song.
That's, oh man, I love it. It's another great song, man. I mean, congratulations. I don't know how the hell you do it. And it's interesting to know that this was sort of not a throwaway. Could you call it a B-side?
Reluctantly. Again, because your average B-side songs get cut for tons of reasons. Sometimes they say, "Oh, this doesn't fit with the tone of the rest of the record," or sometimes you have two songs that are too similar and you don't want them both. And for me, this was just a case of I'm pretty adamant about wanting 12 songs, and we had 13.
Lucky number 13. Mm-hmm. Beauty. Well, here it is. It is the Mendozas with Shotgun Shells and Serenades. Enjoy.
Shotgun shells and serenades, hickeys, hugs, and hand grenades, red roses and razor blades. If this is love, I'm gonna go AWOL. Unlike all those other guys, I'm not gonna die over you. You give 'em hell, then kiss and tell. Your perfume has a napalm smell. I've fallen for this is love, I'm gonna go AWOL. Unlike all those other guys, I'm not gonna die over you. Unlike all those other guys, I just gotta try to get over you. When you say that you can't live without me, I know it's not true. When you say that you're sorry and you broke my heart, I see through you. Unlike all those other guys, I'm not gonna die over you. Unlike all those other guys, I just gotta try to get over you. Just gotta try to get over you.
Next up is Glitch Kingdom with Final Destination. And Glitch Kingdom is a band I absolutely fell in love with on the last Go Kick Ass compilation. This song definitely does not disappoint either. They have so many elements to their sound and managed to get it all inside of 3.5 minutes with this one. Pretty crazy when you think about it. Also got a bonus points to the Australian accent. It really comes through here, and it's got to be one of the best accents on the planet.
Yeah, most people lose their accent when they sing, but she definitely does not. Glitch Kingdom to me is kind of like a Rocky Road ice cream band when there's so many different elements thrown together and you just savor the mess of it all. Extra shout out to Miller Marshall, the Glitch Kingdom mastermind who does all of the Go Kick Ass artwork.
Yeah, and I gotta say, the artwork on this one I think is my favorite so far.
Me too. I think he really he knocked it out of the park, to use a cliche. It's 3 times as good as the others.
Yeah, it's always cool to see things on the constant upward trajectory. You know, I feel like the Go Kick Ass franchise has been just getting better and better each time.
Yeah, me too. And I really like everything that Glitch Kingdom does. The concept. They're a video game themed punk metal ska fusion outfit. And a lot of their songs have been based on the Donkey Kong Country franchise. They did a couple Mario Kart songs. I think Final Destination's a Smash Brothers reference. I'm not quite sure.
That's awesome. I mean, I don't know. I'm more of like an old school. I mean, Donkey Kong Country, you're speaking my language. When you get into like Smash Brothers and Super Smash Brothers, that's a little outside my wheelhouse, but the reference is still very, very cool.
Yeah.
Next up, we have Set to Go, Back to Square One. Another earworm, of course in a good way. That guitar lead and the hook riff really grabs you right off the hop. And by this point of the compilation, you really start to understand the musical diversity that you're in for, and I really dig that. I never want to piss anybody off with labels, but this track had a bit of a poppier vibe, in my opinion.
Yes, yeah, very pop punk. I had the good fortune of meeting Set to Go when I was on the road playing out of town, and I immediately gravitated to what they were doing. And so I approached them for the compilation. they're based out of London, and they're going to be playing at the Palisade Social Bowl on September 12th.
Awesome.
Yeah, that'll be one of the release shows. So, if you like what you hear from them, and I'm sure you will, you should definitely check out that show.
Very cool. One of what, 10? 10 shows?
10 release shows, yeah.
Wow.
And this is the only one in London. So if you're in London and you want to get a copy of Go Kick Ass 3, this is the way to do it. It's a $5 show. So
wow. Yeah, that's huge bang for your buck. You really can't go wrong there. Yeah, moving on. Track 6, disc 1, Frank Dukes with Welcome to Terror Lake. And you gotta love Frank Dukes. Before you even get into the music, which is awesome in its own right, they have one of the best band names in the biz. And I wonder if the youngins even get the Van Damme reference, but either way, this track is super fast, super energetic, and the vocals absolutely rip. Your thoughts?
It's so much more melodic than anything they've done, and I think it's a really good direction that they're moving in. I was talking to Joel and Scott, and they said this is, a bit of an experiment for them as they evolve and change. And, my opinion, for what it's worth, I think this is the best song that they've ever done. So I dig it. I love it. And, like all 42 tracks, I'm so proud to have it included on this compilation.
Yeah, it's definitely a banger. Let's give this one a spin, too. This is Frank Dukes with Welcome to Terror Lake. Check it out.
I've got this sinking feeling rolling over in my mind. I just can't place it, but we'll likely learn in time. Still don't know what was running through your head when the person that you used to be is not the one sitting beside me. When maybe I was wrong to assume your feelings to be true after all that we've been through. And this is quite hard to say, so I'm screaming every word.
Next up is Snacks with Decay. Great tune, and I'm always a sucker for that nostalgic vibe of the lyrics. Like, do you remember the days when we were kids? Also, I got to point out the question mark in the band name. Is that how you say it?
Yep.
Okay.
Snacks is a question. This is another band where they're releasing their swan song. I believe they have one show left, and then they're packing it in. And they're going out on a high note because, you know, I've listened to all the Snacks records, and this song is just it's such an earworm. I find myself singing along to it in the car.
Yeah, it's super catchy, man. And I mean, if you're asking me if I want Snacks, the answer is always yes. I don't know what to tell you. Next up, we have 47 Teeth with Shitty Excuse. And I had not heard this band before. Actually, there's a bunch of bands that I hadn't heard before Kick-Ass 3, which I think is the best part about a compilation, personally. But this song rules. It's kind of punk. It's kind of alternative rock to me. And again, I mean no disrespect with the genre labels, but it just had a real 90s vibe to it.
47 Teeth is a band very near and dear to my heart. Back when the Mendozas were first starting out, our very first show, we opened for them. And I was blown away by how cool they were, their great songwriting, and just like the overall vibe. And, you know, shortly after that show, they relocated, they retooled the band, they broke up for a bit. Now they're back together out of Kingston. And earlier this spring, we got to do a 2-night run with them, and, you know, see how the band has changed. And it's just, you know, I think they're so great. And, you know, like you said, you've never heard of them. And to me, that's just, you know, that's something that needs to be corrected. So I'm glad that, you know, you seem to like them as much as I do.
Yeah, man. And well, that's the thing I dig about what you're doing, you know, in general, right? Is like you're hell bent on getting good music out there to the masses. And, you know, sometimes it's a band I've heard of, sometimes it's a band I haven't. And, you know, I have my ear to the ground as much as one can, but there's always going to be bands and even markets that you're just completely unaware of. It's just the way it goes. So the fact that you're reaching so many people with such a great idea, like Go Kick Ass, is just, it's awesome, man. I love it.
Thank you. I mean, there's no shortage of scenes out there. There's no shortage of compilations out there. But what I take pride in is that this is all new stuff, you know. So if you get a copy of Go Kick Ass 3, you're not getting anything you already have.
Yeah, well, and with the exception of a Montreal band and an Australian band, like, it's all fairly local.
Yeah. I mean, it's the theme of it, and the theme of Cartridge Heart in general is just, you know, my journey, you know, through music. So it's all bands that I've met while out playing or checking out shows. And, you know, I haven't seen Glitch Kingdom in person, but I've seen Miller play in plenty of bands, and he's fantastic. Beauregard, who we'll get to later. Again, people I've met out in my travels.
Yeah, so this is something that, you know, hits close to home for you, which I feel like adds a level of passion to it, no?
Well, I think that, you know, in any creative pursuit, all we have is our own experience. You know, you can write, you know, a completely original story, but it's still through your own lens. So yeah, Go Kick Ass 3, you know, it's a snapshot of the Ontario scene, you know, but, you know, my life is the camera.
Awesome, dude. That's perfectly stated. Next up, we have Life Skills with Blood Drama. And you gotta love Life Skills. Shout out to drummer Zach Schaefer, who just played the long weekend band crawl with Blue Freezy and proposed to vocalist Wendy Bones on stage after the set. I've never seen anything like it. I was super glad to be able to do sound for that one. And, you know, I was told kind of beforehand, full disclosure, to leave the mics on after this set. So it was pretty crazy to see. Yeah. Anyway, I guess going back to this song, and then I'll let you weigh in on all of it. I mean, the song rules. I just wanted to give a honorary mention to the mouth guitar that brings it in.
Yes, yeah. Dylan has he has a particular charm to him, and I think that's a big part of what makes Life Skills tick. Is Dylan's energy and his charisma. Obviously, Zach's a killer drummer. And the secret sauce is guitarist Brandon Arsenault's his taste in effects pedals. He's always switching up his tone and getting cool sounds out of his guitar. And it is very much on display on Blood Drama. Like it sounds like the guitar sounds like Dylan's mouth. It's really fun.
I just love the way he brought that in. Boom, 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 boom. Anyway.
And then the guitar does the same thing. It's, the guitar sounds like a person's mouth. So.
I love it. And then you got to wonder how many songs or riffs were written that way. But of course, they never really sneak that onto the recording.
Yeah.
Awesome. Next up is Big Evil with Those Punk Kids Will Buy Anything, Just Not This. And this is a very cool track. Kind of gives me a Converge vibe, and not in a rip-off way. It's just very chaotic, and it's kind of hardcore as well.
Yeah, Big Evil, they bill themselves as noise punk. Sometimes they're kind of metal, and it's a very controlled chaos. Like it sounds like a train that's going off the rails. But they know exactly what they're doing. It's all very calculated, which is why it works so well. Is because it's not the mess that you think it is. And, I think they're really good at what they do, and it's just a cool song.
This is a very cool song, man. And yeah, you're absolutely right. Like it's controlled chaos. They're very good musicians. You can tell. Right off the hop.
Yeah.
Next up is track 11, Sega Saturn the Console. Talk about throwbacks. Waste of Breath. And I just see a circle pit going through this entire track. Lots of fun to listen to. Aggressive vocals. Really, what's not to love here?
Yeah, no, it's so aggressive and so frenetic. And I feel like Sega Saturn the Console is almost the opposite of Big Evil. Like they sound like the runaway train that they crash into at any minute. Really, really cool stuff from them.
Excellent. Moving along, track 12, the McBains with Go Away. And I think I called them the McBrains last time we did this, so apologies. That was kind of an embarrassing moment that I probably should have edited out, but I just didn't. So here we are. Another band that was on the last comp, and it's easy to see why. Great song, very punk rock. Your thoughts?
Like McBains are they're a Ramones core factory. Like if you love the Ramones, you're gonna love the McBains. They're not shy about their influence, and I think they do a really good job of pumping out earworms. Maybe even better than some later day Ramones.
That's awesome. And I'm glad you're using earworms in a positive sense, because I do too, but you kind of wonder if people are going to take it the wrong way. So, to the listeners, anytime we say earworm, I was going to kind of credit it with, in the best way possible, but seems kind of redundant since we're both on the same page here.
Who wouldn't want to write a song that gets in people's heads and stays there forever?
Yeah, exactly. I guess just on the receiving end, somebody might think like earworm, that might be like a bad commercial or something,
I think a commercial that gets stuck in your head is also a good thing.
Exactly. Like who wouldn't want to be the writer of Fabric Land? Fabric Land.
Oh, there's this one ad, and I think it's for Skip the Dishes, and I mean, they have a good slogan going right now, but the song they use for their YouTube ad is so good. So, I have good thoughts about Skip the Dishes just because I like their song.
That's awesome, man. It's totally like a Demolition Man moment where people just start vibing on commercial music.
Yep.
Yeah. Next up is Lucid Smog Disorder with I'm Freaking Out. This song goes between kind of a chill, groovy verse and a double time punk chorus. And I really like that push-pull vibe. Very cool song from a band, again, I had not heard before.
Yeah, Lucid Smog Disorder. They're for the longest time they were a Toronto band, and I know they did a tour. I think it was 2 summers ago, where they kind of went across Ontario, and they were in flux for a while. But now they're back with a new lineup, and I think they're at their best iteration. They're super tight on stage. They put on a hell of a show, and they're really finding their own voice. I know that the singer, guitarist, songwriter Jack Doris has moved to Hamilton, so you're going to see a Lucid Smog Disorder playing in Hamilton a lot more, including on September 13th at Ooey Gooey's. You can get yourself a copy of Go Cover Charge.
And you know what? I'm just going to call it out. I think you might have cut out a little bit there. So it's at Ooey Gooey's. And what are the details?
It's at Ooey Gooey's in Hamilton on September 13th. They're playing with the Super Voids and Terrible and the Horribles. And yeah, the CD's included with the cover charge. So I think it's a really strong lineup. And if you're in Hamilton, it's a show worth checking out. I mean, the Hamilton scene is so strong in the sense that there's so many cool venues to check out that it's easy to miss, shows like this one. And I think anyone who goes out to see these 3 bands, they're gonna have a great time. So yeah, I'm gonna be bossy. Go to the show. If you don't, you'll be sad. Don't be sad. Be happy. Check out Lucid Smog Disorder.
Yeah, exactly. Like, come on, people. And it's funny because, yeah, you're absolutely right about the Hamilton scene. So many venues. I hadn't even heard of that one before, but that bill is stacked. So, yeah, that rules.
Ooey Gooey's is cool. I went there a couple months ago. Joan Smith and the Jane Does were playing there. And they have an arcade on the top floor in the back room. So, you can play some Pac-Man and listen to punk rock. I mean, it doesn't get better than that.
Oh shit! You know what? I actually might have been there. I've definitely been to an arcade in Hamilton before, although there might be more than one. But yeah, it's if that's the place, it is very cool.
There's this cool little strip on George Street. There's just down the street from the new Club Absinthe.
Okay.
And I believe the name Ooey Gooey's is because they have just really good sandwiches. I want to go back to Ooey Gooey's because I want a sandwich and I want to play Pac-Man. And so,
yeah, that and some punk rock. That sounds pretty much like the best time ever. That might be it. That's that pinnacle of life. Up next, we have track 14 on disc 1, Streets to Ourselves with MNAA. Really great production on this track. It sounds fantastic. And I got to be honest, the first time I heard this track, I was spinning the compilation in the truck with my wife on the way to my dad's. And I didn't really pay attention to the lyrics until they started the drill baby drill gang vocals. And I was like, wait, what? And as I listened on, it started to make sense.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is a message everyone can get behind. MNAA, make Nazis afraid again. I think that, we're all a little disturbed that they've come out of their hidey holes and they're spewing their nonsense. And, when Daniel approached me with this, he's like, is it okay to have a political song? I said, absolutely,
Yeah, well, that's the thing is I remember during the first, whatever. I was going to say not to get too political, but, too late. Um, during the first Trump presidency, I was kind of amazed at the lack of really angry music coming out. Like, I feel like the Bush administration, there was all kinds of crazy, awesome punk rock and metal that came out. So yeah, it's good to see something coming out and just really hitting the nail on the head like that.
Yeah, no, I mean, Daniel from Stooge to Ourselves does not mince words. He's always had a very direct approach, and is very effective in this instance.
Yeah, definitely. Next up, we have Nothing Serious with Say Something, and this is another great punk rock track. The mix feels very guitar heavy, and I like that a lot. Also, the Say Something vocal hook is really, really effective.
Yeah, Nothing Serious. They're like a hooks machine. They write so many great, catchy pop punk songs. If you've heard their last album, or even like the singles they released before it, it's all just like a gold mine of good stuff. So, they did it again. I love Nothing Serious, and glad to have them involved again.
Excellent. Moving on, track 16 is Lip Crunch with UFO, Unidentified Female Obsession. Another fun track. And did I hear a horn section in this one?
Yeah, they have a saxophone player.
Badass.
Yeah, no, they're like Blink 182 with the sax, and they're super guys. Like, they're one of the most fun bands to see. They have this infectious energy to them that you just want to be a part of. Lip Crunch is a band that's easy to love.
Yeah, well, definitely, man. And I love that horn. I wasn't sure what kind of horn, but sax is so cool. Next up, we have Bilious. Am I saying that right?
Yep.
With Out of Hash, which, we've all been there. This is another band I'm getting introduced to by the compilation. Very cool punk band from Toronto. How did you link up with them?
Are they saying they're from Toronto? Bilious, they're out of Newmarket.
Oh, okay. I thought I
Yeah.
clicked on the hyperlink on the Cartridge Heart site, and it brought me to a band camp that I thought said Toronto. I could be wrong. Apologies if I
No,
am.
I mean, you never know. A lot of these bands will say they're from Toronto because people from out of the country don't know where Newmarket is, and it's close enough. But at the same time, if you want to seek out Bilious, the place to do it, you go to Newmarket, and you'll find them. And they're similar to Lip Crunch. They're a band that's easy to love, with just like fun vibes whenever they play. I joke they sound kind of like a throwback, like late 80s alt metal group, like a Green Jelly, a little bit of Anthrax, and then at the same time, there's almost like a hillbilly cowpunk vibe going too. Just the way that their singer Andrew Bell delivers his vocals, it's kind of like a swing your partner around and around, hit him on the head, and bury him in the ground, like something like that.
Nice. Well, dude, you had me at Green Jelly. I'm just gonna say it.
Yeah.
Next up, we have the Mita Bins with Green Shoots, and this is definitely another one of those tracks that got stuck in my head right away. We limit ourselves today to 8 tracks we're going to spin, but to the listeners, you'll just have to check out Go Kick Ass 3 to see what I'm talking about. Super catchy, super earworm. Your thoughts?
Yeah, the Might Have Beens, they've been in the Toronto scene for a long time. Not the Mendozas, but my previous band, we got to open for them at the Rivoli, and there's great musicians, great people. Al McNish, who fronts the Might Have Beens, put out a compilation tape called Punk Rocket, picture of a Toronto streetcar on it, and it was definitely on my mind when creating Go Kick Ass. There's been so many great punk compilations before this, and Punk Rocket is for sure one of them that encapsulates the Ontario scene. So, Al, who's been a scene booster for so long, he's promoted shows as Night Owl. Thrilled to have him involved with this project.
Awesome. And they were cool to work with you. Just the same. I know sometimes, let me put it this way. Was there any kind of competitive nature because he had put out compilations and you're putting one out?
The opposite. Al's the opposite. He's the guy who comes out to everyone's show to support. Like, you see him around everywhere because he just loves music and he loves supporting. He loves being a part of things. So, Al's someone you want to work with because he's just such a good dude.
That's awesome. And that's definitely the spirit of somebody you want promoting your scene via, compilations or just shows in general or zines or whatever, right?
Yep.
Excellent. Next up is Elephant with Good Grief. And Elephant is a very cool band. I've had the pleasure of playing with them at the Horseshoe. Also had the pleasure of mixing them at the Punk Rock Farmers Market at Skull House. Great band, great track. Jonathan Sohn, your thoughts?
Gary's a punk rock lifer. He lives and breathes this stuff. And Elephant is a very good band, that lays down old school punk rock, just, all around good stuff from them. I have a couple albums from them. I think I have Crumble and a Crumble and Rise, which is sort of like them revisiting the material. And they sound great. And I've definitely had a few of their songs stuck in my head. So, was happy to have Elephant at the Punk Rock Farmers Market in Elora and happy to have them here for Go Kick Ass 3.
Excellent. Next up is the Montreal band. It's Beauregard with Mal de Vivre. I feel like I have to be saying that wrong.
Anyway, I think it's just Mal de Vivre, but I don't know. I flunked out of French class.
I feel like you're right on that one. It has to be. Listeners, chime in. Let me know if we're saying that wrong. Correct us, please. It's thewalkshow@gmail.com. But we're going to go with Mal de Vivre, then. That's what we're going to go with. Montreal band. The only one on the compilation from Montreal. Another earworm, and that guitar cadence is super catchy, man. The drums rule as well. And as a drummer, that's sort of the first thing I look out for.
Yeah, there's such a, how do I describe them? They're such a technical band when they want to be. And with this song, I feel like they, made the conscious decision to go in the other direction and do something a bit grittier and a bit more lo-fi sounding. And it really works. Same with the vocal delivery. It was a cool experiment from them. I met them a few years ago when at a music festival in Montreal, and they had a merch market where people would go and, the bands would sell their merch. And so I made sure to trade stickers with everyone. And then I would go back home with my pile of stickers, go into Bandcamp and listen to them all and see who I liked. And Beauregard was the band I liked the best. So when it came time for the Mendozas to go to Montreal, I looked them up. I said, do you want to team up for a show or two? And we ended up playing together in Montreal at a really unique venue. And we stayed in touch. They came down to Toronto last year for Go Kick Ass 2. Just like a swell group of dudes who are really good at making the music. 3 guitars.
Wow.
Yeah. And, 2 guitars is pretty easy to make it work without stepping on each other. 3 guitars, you need to know what you're doing without it sounding like mud.
Yeah. I mean, 3 guitars, if they know what they're doing, I think is the best setup.
Yeah.
The only problems are, well, A, if they don't really know, how to orchestrate themselves, and B, it's just sort of an extra mouth to feed if you're, on tour or if you're trying to make a buck or two. Yeah. But yeah, beyond that, if you can get away with it and the guitar players are awesome, then 3 is the magic number, no doubt. Speaking of three, next up we have Three Impotent Males with Pavlovian Response. This is one of my favorites. Probably no surprise. I'm a fan of the heavier music. And these guys were on the last comp as well, right?
Yeah, I've known these guys for 20 years. And yeah, Wes, the singer guitarist for Three Impotent Males, is the definition of a lifer. Like Gary from Elephant. They're out of Sarnia now, so I don't get to see them as much as I like. But yeah, no, they've been doing this for I think close to 30 years now, and it's real interesting to hear their evolution. Wes has gotten more and more into metal and death metal, so there's a little bit of that in there on Pavlovian Response, but still that skate punk sound that everyone loves and associates with them.
Yeah, it's always cool when you can kind of implement different styles as opposed to being, more on the pure side where you're playing kind of one specific kind of rigid style. And I mean, both scenarios work for different bands, but I just really like the amalgamation of different vibes with this band in particular.
Yeah, and this song, it's an experience, with the samples that they've included. It's a real piece of measured chaos.
Definitely. Let's give this one a spin. Then I got to take a quick commercial break, show some love to the sponsors, and then we'll be back and we'll get into disc 2.
You can't fire me. I quit since I don't fit in.
Waste of space.
Today's episode of The Walk Show is brought to you in part by Jam Spots. Established in 1989, that's over 30 years, Jam Spots has provided safe and accessible spaces for musicians to create and collaborate. They have hourly, weekly, and monthly rentals to suit your needs. And here's the thing, these rooms rent out at artist-friendly rates. Cause let's face it, we can't all be John Bon Jovi. The best part about Jam Spots is its rich history in the Guelph music scene. It truly is a big part of the local scene and even has a music community within itself. And I should know, almost every band I've ever been a part of has had a room with Jam Spots. That's a ton of rehearsals, photo shoots, and even a music video we shot there with A Rise and Ruin. If you're looking for a space within our music community, check out jamspots.com. That's JAMSPOTS.com. Jam Spots. Make some noise! Hey, business owners. Wouldn't it be cool if I was taking this time to talk about your product or service? I've enjoyed building relationships with some very cool companies since I started this thing, and I am looking to expand the Walk Show family. I work with some great sponsors, and I've sponsored events through the podcast, so I do understand how valuable time and resources can be. If you have any interest or questions about working with the show, hit me up at thewalkshow@gmail.com. Again, that's thewalkshow, W-O-K, at gmail.com. I hope you're enjoying the podcast. Thank you so much for listening. Now let's get back to the show. And we are back. Plenty more to get to. Disc 2 is another excellent disc of killer tunes. And it starts off with MIP Power Trio, Press Rewind. And I'm a big fan of MIP Power Trio. Also a fan of MIP too, since she was on the podcast. Killer musician and just a great person. One of my favorite tracks on the compilation for sure.
I practically begged them for this song for the first Go Kick Ass, and they said, no, we're going to do Hit the Road. And Hit the Road is great. So it worked out great for Go Kick Ass 1. And then, I said, well, I know you've got Press Rewind unrecorded. Maybe Go Kick Ass 2? And they said, no. We really want to get behind Virus. And Virus is great. And it was around January. We were at Brew Wizards. And they said, so we're thinking about doing Press Rewind for Go Kick Ass 3. And, my heart's been singing all year because I know that, this song will be on the compilation this year. And, getting to have it early means that I've been playing it, for myself all summer. And, I just love the song. And, it was a slam dunk disc 2 track 1. I've split up the songs the same way I did on Go Kick Ass 2, where, disc 1 is very much what I think is the Punkorama disc. And disc 2 is the Big Shiny Tunes. And Big Shiny Tunes is my all-time favorite series of compilations. So, don't be fooled by it being disc 2, I love all of this stuff.
Yeah, I mean, this whole compilation is fantastic front to back. There's no question there. I'm so glad that we got to, in some cases, and maybe even all cases, debut this material. Is that true, or am I making up lies here?
Oh, yeah, this is the premiere for these songs.
Dude, that rules. Yeah, thank you so much for letting me do that. And speaking of, I gotta spin this one, because I gotta throw a shout out to MIP Power Trio. This is MIP Power Trio with Press Rewind. Check it out. Next up is Terrible and the Horribles with Margaret's Bleeding, another very cool band that was on the last Go Kick-Ass comp. Bass driven, just really cool sound in general.
So I was talking to Edie from Terrible and the Horribles, and she's very eager to point out that they have one song that is not terrible or horrible, because most of their songs are about human trauma, whether real or fictional. I believe the story behind Margaret's Bleeding comes from a book she read, but it's a very dark song with a great hook, like a lot of their songs, where you feel a little guilty singing along with it. But that's their thing. Is they take human trauma and turn them into great songs.
That's awesome. Because it's I find a lot of people relate to that stuff. It's if you're going through something and you hear a song that kind of scratches that itch, like you don't feel so alone. I mean, and maybe that's corny, but I just feel like it's true. So next up, we are at track 3, disc 2, 16 Scandals, Constellation Prize. And I'm a 16 Scandals fan too. I've played some of their tunes on the Walk Show before. They're all different, but you can tell they're written by the same band. And as obvious as that may sound, that's not always the easiest thing to do. And this track in particular has a real 90s vibe to it, which always captures my heart. I love this track. Jonathan, your thoughts?
I love everything 16 Scandals does. I've been a huge fan of them for quite some time. I have a very vivid memory of sitting on the purple line on the Toronto TTC, and thinking to myself, this was during the pandemic, and I forget why I was going out there, thinking, I miss going to shows, and the first band I want to see after this pandemic is over is 16 Scandals. So I am very happy that they were not among the casualties of COVID-19. Just started working with them a bit more closely. They're releasing a couple EPs this fall through Cartridge, which I'm very, proud to be collaborating with them on those. And, despite having 2 EPs coming out this fall, they still have more material to release, including Constellation Prize, which is how we're getting to you here.
Excellent. Let's give this one a spin. This is 16 Scandals with Constellation Prize. Enjoy. Next up is Wine Problem with Dance Doll. And I think this track is in 11/8 time, and the drums are absolutely killer. I think it's just a really clever track, musically speaking. I really enjoyed it.
So, Wine Problem, they're a London band, and they are incredibly talented. I first heard of them when I was looking for London bands for the Mendozas to play with, and we had a show scheduled that had to be called off because of the venue, not running shows anymore. But I kept following them, and they put out an EP earlier this year that I decided to write about for my zine, Plastic and Wax. And I had it on repeat for a couple days, and the more I listened to it, the more I liked it. To the point where I, convinced myself that I needed to feature this band in the zine. I needed to get a photo for the back panel of the zine. So I went to one of their shows and, snapped some photos and got to meet them. And I was absolutely blown away by their energy and musicianship. They're a really cool band doing really cool stuff. So when I asked them if they had anything for Go Kick Ass 3, I was very, very happy to hear that they did. So yeah, Dance Doll is a very interesting song. It's very, you can tell it's been put together by music students, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I'm constantly in awe of them. So yeah, Wine Problem. They're generating some buzz, and everyone I talk to has something nice to say about Wine Problem. And I look forward to perhaps doing more stuff with them in the future.
Excellent. Yeah, definitely some musos in that band. There's no question. Up next is Among Legends with Polar Vortex. And this one kicks off with a great vocal hook. The vocals in general are really, really good. Another band I'm being introduced to on the comp, which is, again, just the best part of a compilation is just getting to hear all kinds of really great music that otherwise you probably never would have heard.
So Among Legends is a band that I've admired for years now. One of those bands where you hear the name just from, going through show posters, and they are the quintessential road warriors. They've done the West Coast tour recently. I think they just completed the East Coast tour. They had to pare down the lineup. They were a 5-piece for a long time. So their last album has a lot going on, and they're a 3-piece now. Mitchell, their singer, picked up the bass because someone had to do it. And Polar Vortex is like the first look at their raw new sound. And it's really cool to see how they've evolved. And, I think it's for the better, this new raw aggressive Among Legends. They are incredibly cool people. They are scene boosters. They have their own label, Steady Riot Records, where they push, the bands that they admire. And they're one of those bands that kind of slipped through my fingers for Go Kick Ass 2. And we were able to make it work for Go Kick Ass 3.
Excellent. Next up is track 6, disc 2, Sweet Baby T with Emperor's New Jeans. Okay, this dude may have the most punk rock voice of all time ever throughout human history. Definitely one of my favorites on Go Kick Ass 3. Just a lot of fun to listen to.
So, if you're familiar with the band Lime Ricky, Sweet Baby T is Tyler McDonald, singer from Lime Ricky, and he's moved to Nova Scotia for the time being, so it's made getting a Lime Ricky track a bit difficult. They've been doing the remote thing, but, like doing anything remotely, things that take half an hour take 3 days.
Right.
So he asked it would be all right if he sent me a solo song, which I said, of course. And so he's delivered Emperor's New Jeans, which is, it's this great song. He's a brilliant songwriter. It sounds fantastic. So, here's your taste of Tyler.
Yeah, it's so cool. And yeah, it's funny because you mentioned Lime Ricky. I didn't know that, but yeah, as soon as you say it, it's like, well, of course, yeah, that voice is just unmistakable, man.
Yeah.
Next up is Kevin Murphy's Murder with In Our Places. And I really dig the drums on this track. And yeah, sorry to the listeners, in case you haven't noticed yet, I hear drums first. And apparently lyrics last. But yeah, this was a very, very cool track for sure.
So Kevin Murphy's Murder is a relatively new thing. I think less than a year. Kevin Murphy has been playing solo for quite a while and just recently added the backing band, a 3-piece. Kevin released a solo record last month that, very much leans on, the solo acoustic performer side. And I had asked for The Murder for Go Kick Ass 3. And Kevin says to me, is it all right if we re-record one of the songs, from Fireweed for the compilation? I said, yes, please. And, this is the one that's always stuck up to me at the live shows, or sorry, stuck out to me at live shows. So, very, very pleased to have In Our Places on Go Kick Ass 3. This is, at the moment, the only Kevin Murphy's Murder recording. So if you like the band, this is the only way to hear it. So yeah, no, this is a cool thing. I was playing it for Fast Eddie yesterday, and I'm like, check this out, the only Kevin Murphy's Murder recording, and he's just like, yeah.
Dude, that rules. Like, how exclusive can you get? Like it's awesome. Next up, we have Alert the Audience with We'll Do It Live. Another one where the drums caught me before anything else. And this track's just a great example of how well-written drum parts can instantly hook a listener in.
Yeah, as you know, Jesse, the singer and songwriter for Alert the Audience, is the drummer. So, yeah, you're going to get drums first when the drummer's writing the songs.
Perfect.
And yeah, no, they're a tough band to describe without just leaning on indie rock. Because they have a little bit of the post-rock influence, especially when they get into dynamics and using some of the more like ethereal elements. We'll Do It Live is a bit more action-packed than that. I know they recorded this specifically for Go Kick Ass 3. Thanks, guys. It's awesome. I love Alert the Audience. Go way back with those guys, close to 20 years. So, great to work with.
Awesome. Next up, track 9, disc 2, Bloody Blue Darlings with Vampire Hair. And this is another one of my favorites. The vocals are super gnarly, in the best way possible, and the hook is insanely catchy. I've had it stuck in my head again since I first heard it. It's got kind of like a new wave meets punk vibe, and yeah, I just really, really enjoyed it.
Yeah, Bloody Blue Darlings. A friend of mine tried to, turn me on to them years ago, and it's just your friends give you recommendations and you forget and you don't get to them. And when I finally got around to listening to them, I was like, oh damn, these guys are awesome. They have like a goth rock post-punk vibe to them. Really cool people. Just did a show with them at the Interstellar Punk Bazaar, and they all showed up dressed in black in like 35-degree heat. The goths smoking their cigarettes, and they have a really cool sound to them because they put a little bit like a spooky twang in there as well. And yeah, Chris has that vintage, old school punk voice. I mean, even the song "Vampire Hair," it's so on the nose. I love it. I love it. And yeah, I've been doing a lot of stuff with them lately. Had them at Brew Wizards. They played the Doc Ellis for me last year. Yeah, just I love working with bands like this where they're great people and they make great music and just chill, right?
Definitely great music. I'd love to give this one a spin if we could.
Let's do it.
Here is Bloody Blue Darlings with Vampire Hair. Check it out. Next up is the Slime Tones with Slime City Video Store. This track is absolutely soaked in reverb, but it gives it a really cool vibe. It's short and sweet. I really enjoyed it. Your thoughts?
The Slime Tones are Toronto's premier instrumental surf rock group. Every song they do is an instrumental, and their guitarist Mike, he is a virtuoso on the guitar. Like, he does such cool stuff. I always joke there's two kinds of show-off guitarists. There's your metal guitarist and your surf guitarist. And, they're like different flavors of awesome. So if you're a guitar fan, the Slime Tones are the band to check out. And I've been doing a really crappy job of plugging the release shows, but they're playing the Tilsonburg show on September 13th. It's going to be the McBains, Wine Problem, and the Slime Tones at Patty's Underground in Tilsonburg.
Wow.
And I know that there's been a big push to put Tilsonburg on the map. My band, the Mendozas, were just in there last weekend, and we had a great time. Yeah, no, Tilsonburg music. Check it out. Worth the drive for sure. And if you're already there, you're already there. I think it's going to be a really good show, and I am a bit envious of the people who will be there to see it.
Excellent. Next up, we have Volatile Youth with Kerouac on Holiday. Am I saying that right?
That's it.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
So far, no Mick Brains moments.
Yeah.
Yeah, with this track, it's really the bass line that hooked me in right off the hop. It's got a real 60s vibe to it in general. I really dig it.
Yeah, they're like very much a 60s psychedelic band. Like, they're very clearly influenced by the Brian Jonestown Massacre, who were in turn influenced by the Rolling Stones, and they just have that guitar wash of noise, and it's a really like warm, fuzzy sound to it. You know, Volatile Youth is a vibe. And they're also a walking commercial for Rickenbackers. All three of them play Rickenbackers.
Nice.
Yeah. And they just ooze cool. They're going to be at one of the coolest venues in Toronto on September 13th, Cameron House, which is a stacked lineup. Pioneer Anomaly, 16 Scandals, Life Skills, and Volatile Youth.
Damn.
Yeah, you'll never see one like that again. Definitely not at Cameron House. Like, just crazy lineup. Yeah, September 13th. I think anyone who goes to that show will have their mind blown in so many different directions.
Dude, that rules.
Yeah.
Let's see. Track 12, disc 2. Moving along. It's Starship Experience with Tuesday Afternoon Sitting on a Park Bench. Another great track and another great fantastic, actually, vocal performance. Great doesn't really do it justice. Where do you find these bands, man? Seriously.
So Starship Experience, I mean, they've been around. I think they're celebrating their 18th year. And Jesse Sabaris, who is a huge scene booster, he runs Space Station rehearsals over at Dufferin and Geary, and he's also the guy behind the Interstellar Punk Bazaar. He enlisted me to help him out with it last year. And, you know, walking around his space, he has a calendar set up for bands to post their shows. He's always on my case to drop off posters for events happening. He has this dedicated section for the Plastic and Wax zine. He has a vending machine filled with things that musicians need. Like, he just, you know, he likes being in the thick of it all. And he's been doing it for so long. One of my previous bands opened for them at Grossman's Tavern, legendary institution in Toronto. And he has unbelievable energy. He's a great guitarist, great singer. And, you know, just incredible presence on stage. So, yeah, including Starship Experience is a no-brainer. They had a great song on Go Kick Ass 2. They have an even better song on Go Kick Ass 3. So, yeah, you know, if you're in Toronto and you haven't seen Starship Experience yet, definitely check them out. Taking them with me to Oshawa, September 13th, to play Brew Wizards. It'll be the Mendozas, Lovers, Starship Experience, and Kevin Murphy solo.
Nice.
And that'll be a free show. So, you know, if you're in Oshawa, you probably know the drill by now. Brew Wizards, free show once a month. Always an incredible lineup, and this one will be no different.
Next up, we have Old Mountain Low with Only Details. And I'm a sucker for an acoustic vocal track, especially when the vocals are this good. This really tugs at the heartstrings.
Yeah, Dan Smith, the guy behind Old Mountain Low, fronted a band called Farewell Cool Reason for a long time, and he recently, you know, put that project to rest and started up Old Mountain Low. where he puts on just jaw-dropping vocal performances, just him and his acoustic guitar. And that's, I think, it's probably the hardest thing to do, is to silence a bar with your performance when it's just you and acoustic. And I've seen Dan do it on multiple occasions. So, just a great dude and a great performer. And Only Details is a great song.
Definitely. Unbelievable talent. And speaking of unbelievable talent, next up we have the Supervoids with Drink and Dance. It's the return of Mip. This track rules, and definitely has that nostalgic when we were kids vibe that really grabs me every time. Killer musicianship, and just a lot of fun to listen to again.
In Go Kick Ass tradition, we always have like one cover song, at least one. We had two on the first one. And this is the Supervoids covering Greg's previous band, the Blind Cats.
Cool.
Yeah, so the song is back in revamped form, by the Supervoids, and it's still got Greg's signature sound, and just a great like rock and roll tune. The neat thing about working with Greg is that it is impossible to predict what he's going to give you. You just need to have faith, and he'll deliver. He sent me blues songs. He sent me like proto-punk. A couple months ago, he's like, "Here, I did a Stooges cover," and Drink and Dance, just great rock and roll tune.
Yeah, it really is. Next up is Papa Reuben with This Time. And I think this is yet another song with an 11/8 time signature in it. Two in the same compilation is almost unheard of, dude. I just gotta say. Anyway, Papa Reuben was on the last Go Kick Ass compilation as well, right?
Yeah, I mean, Papa Reuben has been a staple in the Toronto scene for well over 20 years. Under many different names, many different projects. He's one of the first friends I made in Toronto music. Just a delightful dude who, puts his all into his songs every time he plays. And, he's got this collection of songs that he's trickling out slowly, making them all count. And I was able to twist his arm into letting me have this time.
Nice.
It's a different side of him than last year. Last year was very much, it was a love song, and it was very sweet and romantic. And this time's a bit darker.
Perfect. Next up, we have Mackenzie King with You or Me, and the slide guitar really gets me with this track. Absolutely awesome guitar performance. And I just really dug the track in general. Very cool.
This is another band that I've known for a long time, close to 20 years. And I ran into their singer, bassist, Al Musso at a party. And I asked him if he was still doing, the music with Mackenzie King. And he says, not in a long time. And I said, why not? Well, we all live in different parts of the country. We never see each other. And I'm like, well, that shouldn't stop you. And so he got the band back together to record this song specifically for the compilation remotely. So I don't think they ever got together and rehearsed it. They just wrote it, recorded it, and here it is. And, talking to Al since, it sounds like they're going to do more. So, that's good news for everyone else, because, Mackenzie King, one of my favorites from back in the day, and, they're back. And I'll probably say, the same about the next band, Rhinosaur.
Yeah, that's it's a very cool track in general on the heavier side. Really cool guitars again, and I'll be honest, the first thing I kind of thought of is Rhinosaur a Soundgarden reference?
Yes, absolutely.
Nice. Okay, that was a great tune on Down on the Upside. But yeah, very cool track by Rhinosaur. It's The Dreth. And let's have your thoughts on it.
So The Dreth is an unreleased song. There was a clip of it on a MySpace trailer to give you an idea how long ago this was. If you've ever heard of the band The Atomic Ravens, Mix Rastava, I hope I pronounced that right. He's the vocalist and he plays guitar for Rhinosaur, but he played drums for the Atomic Ravens. And he switched to guitar for this project, and he got Robin DeYoung, who some people would know from Cold Dead Hands, and Rob Kistler, who also played in Cold Dead Hands, and Fine Motor Control for this new project. Well, it's then new project that came and went. Life happens. People move. People start families, and Mick has this entire treasure trove of stuff that they've recorded but never released. And it was very important to me for this compilation to unearth one of them. Because I've been, a fan of his stuff for so long. And when he offered up The Dreth, my eyes lit up because, I know this song. I love this song. And, I haven't had a copy of it until, last month. So, I've been blasting this one and enjoying it. And in just 5 weeks, everyone else will get to blast it and enjoy it too.
Yes. Yeah, definitely mark it on the calendars, everybody. This is going to be a big release. Next up, we have Glass Planets with Take or Break. This track had really great production. Everything's really well done. The vocals are really cool. And yeah, everything in general, just really, really good job. Bonus points for the absolute shredder on guitar. And if it's cool with you, this is going to be the last track that I spin. So I'd like to leave it to the end of the episode to kind of take us out. Your thoughts?
Yeah, we'll get back to Glass Planets, but for sure, yeah, I know this song blew me away. The musicianship, the production values, everything about it. And if I'm not mistaken, I think this is the first thing they've released as well. So, another band premiere.
Wow. How is that? How are they that good? They must be from other really good bands or something.
I have no idea. And this is another Zach Schaefer band. He's on drums here.
Dude, that guy gets around, man.
I know.
Killer drummer. And that's the thing with killer drummers is that they're never just in one band.
No, they can't help themselves.
Neither can the music scene at large. It's like everyone's tugging on a good drummer's sleeve all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll definitely end the show with that one. And move on to Pioneer Anomaly. Why Are You Still Here? I really like the use of dynamics on this track. It kind of drops out for part of the verse with that staccato kind of guitar chug and the tom beat, which just makes for a really cool rock song.
Yeah, Pioneer Anomaly representing the prog metal, post metal sound. I've seen them play live. They put on an incredible live show. Just a cool band, and so heavy but also so pretty. And their singer, guitarist Ben Rayburn, also runs a rehearsal space in Toronto called Primal Note Studios. And just like Jesse, he's a huge scene booster. He has a great space. There's an event space right in the middle where they put on concerts, people film music videos. Absolutely love what Ben's doing with Primal Note. So if you're, a Toronto band looking for a place to practice, you can't go wrong with Primal Note or the Space Station. I'm looking to, shoot a music video for my own band at Primal Note. So
sounds like the place to be.
Yeah.
Cool. Next up, track 20. It's Lovers with Nuka Loompa, and I hope I'm saying that right. Am I saying that right?
You're saying that right.
Alrighty. Another guitar-driven track. Can't get enough of that. Great drumming, too. And I just love that you chose to keep the energy up even towards the end of the comp.
I mean, I think of the comp as like a concert, right? So I wanted to go out strong. Not to throw shade on anyone, on their location, but like, this song in particular knocked me on my ass. Lovers has always been a band that has, impressed me in all facets of their performance. They do crazy like doom surf 1 minute. They had a song they released last year. Had huge Sabbath vibes to it, but like cool. The song they released on Go Kick Ass 2 was an homage to like some dude who came to one of their shows and cut up his debit card.
Wow.
They're insane on stage. Just I don't know. I'll run out of breath before I run out of nice things to say about Lovers, and they're such sweet guys too. So yeah, I love this song Nuka Loompa, and what it does for its location is it really bridges between like the punk vibes to like the metal vibes that are happening at the end of disc 2, Go Kick Ass 3. Pioneer Anomaly is very like prog metal, and Ox is very doom metal.
It definitely is, and I'm glad you said that ahead of time because I wasn't sure if it was an acronym or if it was Ox.
Yeah,
but yeah, that's how we end the compilation with Wretched Witch. Last but certainly not least, this track rules. Speaking of Sabbath, had a real Sabbath vibe to it, which is always going to have a special place in my heart. Total doom banger, coming in at almost 9.5 minutes. And if we weren't on a time crunch for the show, I'd totally play this track. But definitely go check it out when Go Kick Ass 3 drops. You'll be super glad you did, listeners. Your thoughts? And any closing thoughts?
Ox is without a doubt the best metal band out of Barrie. One of the best doom metal bands in all of Canada, in my opinion. They're super cool people. I love everything that they do. I have their records on multiple formats, and another one of those bands that slipped through my fingers for Go Kick Ass 2 and was a huge get for Go Kick Ass 3. Love what they do. I love this song. And it's 9 minutes of doom, all caps, let's go. And they mentioned that usually when they're on a compilation, they're at the end because their songs are so long. And sorry guys,
That makes sense.
But the silver lining of going last is that you leave that lasting impression, and Ox will definitely leave an impression on you.
Yeah, I mean, going out with a bang for sure. And just to the listeners, just to say, Ox, it's AAWKS. I realize that could sound like AUX or any, combination of letters that make those sounds, but it's AAWKS Ox. Yeah, we made it to the end, buddy. And it's quantity and quality this time around.
Yeah.
So I think you've really hit it out of the park, buddy. You really did a great job.
I was telling everyone when the tracks were coming in, and I was given the enviable task of sequencing it all, which is, it was great for me because I just got to walk around for a month listening to these songs over and over again. It was an embarrassment of riches. Definitely felt like Christmas in July. All these bands that I love so much sending me such great songs. All 42 of them, quite literally kick ass. And I'm just so proud of, the work, the bands, the engineers who recorded them, Miller doing the art, Matt who mastered it all, made sure that it all flows together the way that it does. And also the promoters and venue owners who are working with me for this great release weekend, which I want to get into before we go. Just going through it real quick. We got 10 shows, September 12th, 13th, 14th. On September 12th in Kitchener at the Union, we've got Glass Planets, who we're going to play in a moment, Streets to Ourselves, Alert the Audience, and Sega Saturn, the console. Doors at $7, $15, licensed, and all ages. And you get the CD. First 25 people in the door will get a free CD. And that's a great show. It's the only one in Kitchener for the weekend, so check it out. Rare chance to see Glass Planets. I don't know how many shows they've played, if any. I think they've played a couple. I'm not sure. Let's see. Also in London, we've got Set to Go, 16 Scandals, and MIP Power Trio, September 12th at the Palace of Social Bowl. Doors at 9 p.m. All ages, $5 cover. If you've been to a show at the Palace at Social Bowl, you'll know that it's got a big stage with a big sound system. For $5, it's an absolute steal. Great place to see bands. I know that Marty at the Social Bowl is a huge scene booster, loves live music. Just a great dude to work with. I should also throw a shout out to the fellas behind the Union, because they have that same thing. I believe it's the Croca guys who run the Union.
Yeah,
And
awesome band.
Yeah, I got to see them at Long Weekend Band Crawl. Yeah, just cool guys. Great to work with. Another group of guys great to work with, Mike and Brian at Camp Cataract in Niagara Falls, where they have a really good thing going. And this is another all ages show. I think it's so great that so many of these shows are all ages. September 12th, Camp Cataract in Niagara Falls. We've got the Mendozas, Lovers, Wine Problem, and Lip Crunch. At 7 p.m., $15 or pay what you can. Licensed all ages. Free CD offer still there. And yeah, if you only got $5 to pay, you still get a CD. I just want you to come out and enjoy the show, have a good time. And, we'll see you then. Toronto, September 12th at Seascape. Another all-ages show. Seascape is one of the few all-ages venues in Toronto. A great place just to hang out if you've never been there. It's a nerd-themed bar. So the decor is all really fun. They got board games, they got video games, and then upstairs they've got live music. And the lineup is just fantastic. It's Kevin Murphy's Murder, Three Impotent Males Making the Trip from Sarnia, the Might-Have-Beens, and Old Mountain Low. Like I said, 7 p.m., $15, licensed all ages, and yeah, you get that free CD with your cover charge. Then, on September 13th, we got 5 shows. In Hamilton, it's Lucid Smog Disorder, The Super Voids, Terrible and the Horribles at Ooey Gooey's. That one's 19 plus. $15 CD included with your entry. And I mean, I want to go to that one just because I want to play the arcade games and have the sandwiches, but also such a great lineup. And yeah, and the staff at Ooey Gooey's are great too. I'll say the same thing about 10 Gallon in Newmarket. 4 bands at this one. It's Bilious, Big Evil, Frank Dukes, and Papa Reuben at 10 Gallon. I believe it's doors at 8 p.m. $15 cover, 19 plus. You get your free CD with entry. And Andrew from Bilius, who I'm working with on this, some portion of this, we haven't figured out the details yet, will go towards the food bank in Newmarket, because that is it's a cause that's important to him, and I am happy to support that.
Absolutely.
Yep. Then in Oshawa at Brew Wizards, we have a free show. It's the Mendozas, Lovers, Starship Experience, and Kevin Murphy solo. Doors at 8 p.m., music at 8:30, no cover, 19 plus. Come and check it out. It's the monthly punk night at Brew Wizards. It's Go Kick-Ass this month. And then Tilsonburg at Patty's Underground. It's the McBains, Wine Problem, the Slime Tones. It's 8 p.m., $15, all ages or licensed. And yeah, you get your CD with the cover charge there. Really happy to be working with Patty's Underground on this one. Great dude there, doing great things for the Tilsonburg scene. And then the last one on the 13th is in Toronto. I mentioned this one before, at Cameron House. Pioneer Anomaly, 16 Scandals, Life Skills, and Volatile Youth. And this is the definition of the mixed lineup. Like, you're getting a taste of everything. 9 p.m., $15, 19 plus, free CD with entry. Come early because Volatile Youth is super cool, and stay late because Pioneer Anomaly will change your life. And we already know how much I love 16 Scandals and Life Skills. It's a great time to be had there. And last but not least, on Sunday, we have a special matinee at Dead Dog Records. This is a free show, and it's all ages. Music starts at 2 p.m. Dead Dog Records on Church Street. It's the Mendozas, the McBains, and Mip Power Trio.
Wow.
Yeah. McBains are coming all the way from Tilsonburg to play in Toronto. If you haven't seen them yet, you have to. I mean, or else 6 years bad luck, and then 1 year of terrible luck. And we have a special surprise cooked up for that show. I'm not going to talk about it. Just, you got to be there. So.
Very cool. And yeah, matinees are the best.
Yeah, you can bring the kids. Make sure that they have ear protection because it's going to be loud in there. Just be a great time.
Awesome. Is there anything we missed? Anything you want to say before we shut her down?
I think it's time to listen to Glass Planets.
I think it's that time too, man. I just checked my watch and that's what it said. So, as we mentioned before, we are going to leave you with Glass Planets, Take or Break. Jonathan Sohn, thank you so much for your time, brother. It's been awesome as always.
Thank you.
And to the listeners, thank you so much for your time. Catch you next time.